Well, another, let's call it a volatile day in the market. Look at that. Dow up 664, NASDAQ 322. Again, we've had serious volatility the last couple of years, ever since the announcement of the tariffs and what appears to be a trade war. And again, China on their back. There's the little bell that said ding, 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 ding. And New York Stock Exchange floor. Spent many a year on trading floors, my friends, many a year. And the reason why I'm telling you this is, see that fourth one down, the VIX, that's the VIX. It's an index of volatility. Now, we had a chart made of the volatility index, and this is one I trade very actively. And if you look over the course of the last, let's call it a few weeks, even longer though, for many, 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 many months, that VIX, that VXX there, traded between 40 and 50 or so. And if you look at all the way to the right side of that chart, right, the very last 4, 5, 6 bars, those are each individual days. The volatility has exploded. And that means Wall Street's nervous. They're just nervous because they don't know what's happening. Is China going to escalate? Is Trump going to escalate on China? Good news is everyone is coming to the table with the exception of China, which indicates to me that Trump's on to the right track and they'll get China. Yeah, keep that chart up for a second there. Look at the absolute, not only did it jump up in price, but look at those wide bands. Each one of those blue bands is a single day. And the massive moves within the day means people are just not sure what to make of all of this. Yep, there you go. Great job. Great job, folks. Ben made that chart really, really good. So point is, Wall Street's nervous. They want to know, and rightly so. A lot of money on the line, trillions upon trillions of dollars on the line. But I do believe China will have to blink first. They're going to have to blink first. They're going to play tough and play hardball. But again, we're the biggest consumer in the world. They rely on us, and they can't drive us into bankruptcy because they hold a lot of our debt, and they don't want us to declare bankruptcy. So we got a lot of cards, and Trump knows that. So looking good. Very, very strong market today. All in all, it was a strong week. Last week, not so much, but this week is a very, very strong week. All right, folks. That lunatic, Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, couldn't let us go on to a nice weekend. I don't know, maybe go out, maybe down here in Florida, it's 80 degrees. I like to have gone out, maybe go to a pool or something. But she had to deliver one more mind-numbing quote. Listen to the last one of the week, hopefully, fingers crossed, from America's dumbest congresswoman.
Realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
No one knows what she's talking about. What are you talking about? The reason we can't afford a home, we can't afford food, is because failed immigration policies. You know where the failed immigration policy was? Your moronic Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ticket from the last 4 years. They're the ones who let all these people in, driving up the price of everything because they consume. They don't pay taxes, but they consume. Drive prices up. Jazzy Jasmine Crockett. Trump's trying to fix it, and he's doing well. Number came out yesterday. Inflation way down, way below expectations. Inflation is coming down, folks. Gas prices are coming down quite a bit, too. I said it before. Gas will be down another $1 a gallon within the next 45 to 60 days. Jazzy Jasmine Crockett went on to do a whole rant about how racist Republicans are. She then had a few ignorant things to say about deportations, illegal migrants. Listen to Jazzy Jazz.
And I can tell you that, you know what? If I had to look at the vast majority of the cases that I was representing criminal defendants on, the vast majority of them just didn't happen to be immigrants. These are just the facts of my experience, and maybe the immigrants went to somebody else. I don't know. But I can tell you in my actual experience, in real life, in reality, and not in this fallacy world that y'all are making up where you hate on everybody. So my Republican colleagues
I got to stop right there, because this moron, it's a congresswoman from Texas. This moron is saying she represented, vast majority of the people that she was a criminal defendant attorney. The vast majority of the people she defended weren't illegals. Okay, yeah, we get that. We get that the vast majority of people in America aren't illegals. There's 360 million people in America. 20 million are illegal. I got it. But Do illegals commit crime at a higher rate than Americans? Of course they do. The answer to that is yes, Jazz, and that's called a rate. It's a rate at which they commit crimes and violent crimes. Jazz, you want to have a conversation about this anytime, come on the show. Seats warm. We're going to have Mr. Mayor, America's Mayor, Rudy Giuliani, sit in this chair coming up in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, Jazz, you open invitation. Let's go sit down. Let's have a conversation about immigration, my dear. It won't be pretty, though. You're pretty, but the conversation won't be. Whoopi Goldberg thinks that Americans don't all have access to the internet. My moronic view, that's a moronic view from a moronic view co-host, who suggested that the price of eggs has not fallen one bit, which, as we know, well, couldn't be further from the truth.
We are so past wasteful spending, it's not even funny. Now, the question is, will his base be on board with him throwing an extravagant party right now? He did promise to lower the price of groceries. I have not seen an egg fall 1 cent since this man got in. Almost, we're too close. Something almost slipped out my face. But I mean, what the heck?
I don't think people are going to be supportive of this.
Listen, the CPI came out yesterday. Prices are going down. Gas is going down. Everything's going down. Everything is going to get cheaper. Inflation's coming down. Eggs, she's right, though. I'll give her this. She was right about that. Eggs haven't gone down. Eggs are up. So what? Everything else is down. Whoopi also said that we, the people, including herself, should pay more taxes. This is really what goes on in the mind of Democrats. They can't tax you and I enough. Listen.
Well, a 90-day pause doesn't mean anything to anyone because people are, as you say, struggling with everything they're living with on a day-to-day basis. Now you know what we're fighting against. But I also believe that it's very important to remind people that now is the time for each and every one of us to suck it up and make sure that we know what we need to take care of. If you're in an area where the school district is losing, then you got to pay a little more taxes and you got to help the schools out. If you're finding that your libraries are falling apart, you have to give more.
Go for it. Go for it, Whoopsters. And you see all your co-hosts are like sipping their coffee like, I'm not going to pay more taxes. You go ahead and pay more taxes. Knock yourself out. Doesn't work. Tampon Timmy Walls has been all over the place this week. I guess he wants to be president or something. It's insane. He's the most unlikable human being on the planet. He's throwing shots at everyone. His latest target, Elon Musk. Well, here's what he had to say again against Elon.
It's okay in America to be successful. We should celebrate that when people are successful. What my beef is, once you get successful, don't be a greedy bastard and not pay your taxes. Don't do that. Pay your taxes and do that. And let those young men who see this, now I would argue this, we're creating a false narrative from them that everybody is super rich and has Lamborghinis and life is easy, but that's what we're going to have to figure out in our society about social media and all those things. But I don't think we should be the party that demonizes someone because they're able to afford something or they're able to work hard and got something. What we should demonize is people like Elon Musk and those people that do that.
Okay, so Tim Walz was about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, said he was rooting for Tesla to fall out of bed, the price of Tesla to fall out of bed. It's an American company, by the way. And then he found out that in the state of Minnesota, where he's the governor, the pension fund owns more than 1 million shares of Tesla. 1 million shares of Tesla owned by his state's pension fund. So he's rooting for his own people, his pension fund to fail, and for his own people, for their value of their 401ks to tank. Good job, Timmy Walz. That'll get you elected president. Won't even get you elected dog catcher. Eric Swalwell was asked a totally staged question about the Save America Act, the SAVE Act. Listen to 40 seconds of this elected official spewing, well, horrible lies.
Hey, Congressman.
Hey, what's happening? You're everywhere, man.
Yeah. What the is going on with the SAVE Act?
Oh, you mean the Save the Republicans Act? It's the only way they can win elections is by making it absolutely impossible for people to vote. The SAVE Act would make it impossible. It'd be a ban on married women from voting. Why? Because it would require you to have your birth certificate to prove who you are to go and vote. Well, married women who change their name they're not going to have a document that shows that. So it's crazy. It's just another way to obstruct people from going to the ballot box. All it does is save Republicans. It doesn't save our Congress.
No, Eric Swalwell. When you're not sleeping with Chinese spies, maybe you can wake up a little bit. No, we just want people to have an ID to vote. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not too difficult to figure out. And anyone says, including you, Swalwell, that's I don't know, some sort of exclusionary to African American people. That's racist in itself. Assuming black people can't get an ID is racist in itself. All right, folks, before we head to break, I want to remind you about my podcast and YouTube page, which are both updated daily, not only with this show. I mean, of course, you can hear the show, but tons of other content anywhere, anytime. But it's very, very important that you subscribe now so you don't miss out. Make sure you hit subscribe on anywhere you listen to podcasts and our YouTube page as well. All right, coming up next, photographer to the stars and the politicians and rock stars when we return, and Rudy Giuliani just after that. Stick around. Here we go. Welcome back. By the way, I want to bring in a good friend of mine, Barry Morgenstein. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, but he's also probably one of the best photographers you'll ever meet. And we're going to prove it to you in just a second because this is fascinating. I absolutely love this stuff. Welcome, Barry. Good to have you in town and on set. Come on, just put the first one up. Let's see what we have here. And these are random
Dana.
folks. Oh, there's my former co-host on The Five, Dana Perino.
Good start.
Great shot.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've shot her probably about 4 or 5 times. Shot Dana. And her family, her husband, Jasper, the famous dog.
Peter, I remember Jasper was the original, the
exactly,
OG dog.
Exactly. Yeah. But obviously she's an easy subject, beautiful. She's so photogenic.
So
a sweet lady.
How often do you have to freshen photos?
You know, I tell people maybe once a year. If you change your hair, obviously, if you change your look somehow, then you need to update your headshot.
Because I'm asking this because I lost 25 pounds since our last session.
Right.
And we're going to show you a picture from the last session and see if you can tell any difference. All right, let's do another one. Pull another one up. Next. Now, I was blown away, Barry. You put this in the mix, and I grew up watching The Honeymooners.
So did I. Honeymooners fanatic.
Well, that's Joyce Randolph.
Yep.
That's Trixie.
Trixie, yep. I was lucky to get her in my studio when I had a studio in New Jersey. I knew she was coming to town. I said, you know what? I've had somebody contact her. I said, I have to shoot one of
How old is she in this shot?
She was in her 80s,
Yeah.
but that was a good 25 years ago. You know, we just lost her, I think, 2 years ago.
Wow.
I think she was 100 when she passed
I had
away.
no idea. I mean,
But
I watched every single episode of 100.
And she told great stories of Jackie Gleason, Art Carney. It was like getting really inside.
How'd you get that gig?
It was through a local guy in my town. He was a friend of hers, and I knew she was coming down to town to sign autographs.
Yeah.
I said, well, get her to my studio. I got to, you know, and I even said to her, I said, you know, having you here is like shooting one of the Beatles.
Yeah.
I don't think she understood the reference, but
Did she pay?
no, she didn't. I was happy to have her.
Obviously, it's a great promo.
Yeah.
Next one, please. Now, this one's cool. We got a lot of our audience will notice those folks. Those
the
guys.
heroes. I love photographing heroes, and these are the great guys, the three Benghazi guys who wrote the book 13 Hours.
Yeah.
The film was based on them.
Great
Tonto,
film, too, by the way.
So that was kind of their first official promo shot. And
The
this was
promo
used on, which is now called Blue Magazine. It was NJ Blue at the time. I do a lot of work with Blue Magazine. It's the largest law enforcement magazine in the country.
Good.
So
Yeah,
great people to work with.
There's a lot of law enforcement pictures. Next one.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Shannon Breen.
Anna Breen, also one of the
for her book.
sweetest people in the world. She is so nice, and I love working with her. And she was kind enough to use that shot for her book cover.
For her book, yeah.
Yeah.
And now she, for her book, I assume the book publisher is the one who hired you.
No, she had actually hired me just to shoot her publicity shots. Then she said, "Hey, I'm doing a book, but I use this for the cover." So,
Interesting.
yeah,
Great.
yeah.
And when she pays you for you, she owns the pictures, or
She can use them. Yeah, usually when people pay me, then I let them. I know photographers say, "Well, you have to pay this much extra to use it for this and this and that." I don't bother with that. I said, "These are yours. Use them."
There's a Skycam.
Cool.
Another one. Next, MD. Now this is cool.
Some rock and roll legends. So yeah, this is the beginning of my career, and these are going to be all actually. And I hate for a plug, but I have a book coming out in the fall of all my music images. It's
You got some great music. Yeah, but take that one full again, MD, real quick.
Yeah.
As Barry will tell us who those guitarists.
These are
great
three
guitarists.
of my favorite guitar players: Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin,
Led Zeppelin, sure.
Chuck Berry, father of rock and roll, one of the king of the blues, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray, one of the better guitarists ever.
Absolutely.
The Led Zeppelin.
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page, double neck guitar. Remember he?
I wish I had,
and
I wish I had a photograph of that with him. But yeah, that's still a cool shot. So he's my favorite guitarist. I was happy to
so
get that.
these were your individual shots. So that you were hired individually for
Absolutely.
each one of these shots.
Yeah,
You're not just a fan taking.
No.
a picture.
I was in what they call the photo pit. When you're like, if you're shooting at Madison Square Garden, you're in the front of the stage.
Now, who would
with a
hire
pass.
you for that? Would it be
Either
the
a magazine,
company?
record companies, magazines, PR firms,
Or the
That's a
garden
mix.
itself?
No, I never worked for the garden. No, it was always for magazines or the artists.
All right, another one. Next. Nice picture.
So
Iconic picture.
Yeah. So this one I love. It's just there's obviously a Vietnam veteran at the Vietnam Wall in D.C. and I just love that capture. You know, just as people know me, a big supporter of the military and veterans.
Yep.
So this one means a lot to me. And
Yep.
I just love that capture. I wish I knew who he was.
Yeah.
Get that to him. But anyway, so that was during Memorial Day weekend. You know that I captured that.
And we were down there during the whole mess in the World Trade Center and such.
Right. Yeah.
Next one, please. There he is.
Sure.
It's Sheriff David Clark.
Right. The man. Yeah. Oh, just great shot of him. He uses it all the time. He said it was the best shots ever taken of him.
Now, is this in your studio or is it?
That was, I think, location where I set up. We were in some room, and I just kind of bring my studio on location sometimes if I have to, and
Right.
duplicate my studio basically. So
Good one.
Very iconic.
Another one. Mad Dog. Now this is fun.
Yeah.
So we have Ted Nugent on the show a lot.
Of course.
We have him on a lot. And I had the fortune to sing Stranglehold with Ted Nugent playing a couple of weeks ago because I grew up knowing that guy right there. That's the Ted Nugent I grew up watching when I was a kid.
Exactly. Debbie
Harry from Blondie.
Yeah. So that was shot in New York City. At the Beacon Theater, and
I went to that show.
Oh, you
I went to
really?
the Beacon Theater. Yeah, that was a great. It's a
great venue. I've shot so many.
1,000 seats or so, small venue, and I was at that show.
I shot
this was a little later in her career.
Yeah, it was. It was after Blondie, but this was Blondie playing, but yeah, it was after their heyday, I guess.
Yeah.
But cool shot of her.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So she was fun to shoot.
It's so funny. That exact show. All right, here you go.
Gene Simmons kiss.
Gene Simmons, and you can tell by that long,
tongue.
ugly tongue.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But fun guy to shoot.
Is he? Now, I have a question. He's notoriously cheap. Did he pay you for this?
No, it was probably a magazine for this one.
Got it. Because
So,
they say he's got every penny he's ever
I've heard that. I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah.
All right, let's do another one. I know that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's a patriot right there.
Yeah,
That's one
exactly.
of the smartest men to walk the planet.
Yeah, he is.
Tucker.
And he's great. He's
now, this is post Fox?
Yes, after this was after Fox, right?
Yeah.
I shot him once when he was with Fox, so he's hired me a few times.
Right.
He flies me out to his secret location, and
Which secret, in Maine or down
exactly.
here?
No, in Maine, yeah. So, we have a great time. He's like out in the boondocks out there, and we just have a fun day. He lives. His studio is out near the lake and everything, and we just take a lot of great shots.
So what do you do? Like, Tucker, give us that. You could have asked him that iconic that thing when liberals talking, he just gives them the look with the eyes, and it just sears right through them. They get panicky or just know him.
Yeah, luckily he didn't give me that look.
That's a nice shot there for Tucker.
Thank you.
All right, let's do it. Next.
Sammy Davis.
Wow.
So that's one of my all-time most proud photos. The legend, Sammy Davis.
How that came about.
I was actually hired to shoot him. He was at a hotel, and this was the last tour with Sinatra and Liza Minnelli.
In Vegas or here?
No, it's New Jersey. This is like a back room of a hotel.
Got it.
And the thing is, Sinatra was supposed to come down. I was like, and of course, Sinatra being Sinatra, does what he wants to do, and he chose not to come down. To this day, I'm like, this close to shooting Sinatra.
How did you arrange this, though?
It was a PR firm, I think, that hired me, and I just he was there, I had him for a few minutes, and I actually happened to capture this, I guess, pensive moment. This was, I think, maybe a year and a half later, he passed away. So he was ill in the shot. But, he was also just one of the nicest guys.
Yeah,
he was talking photography.
Yeah.
Just a lot of times you see the big superstars.
He had one glass eye.
One glass eye, yeah.
No depth.
Yeah. So
No depth.
that was one of my favorites.
Next one. We know this guy.
Yeah, Bill. That's my second shoot with Bill, too.
I'm going to be on his show on Monday. I filled in for him 250 times.
Did you really?
200. When I was at Fox, he'd take a lot of Fridays off sometimes.
I remember it. That's a big number.
And,
that's great.
Yeah, it was quite often.
Yeah.
How'd you get him to look so handsome? You guys did a lot of makeup, a lot of filters on that one. Yeah.
I think it helped that.
In case Bill's watching, how many filters?
Exactly.
Like 12 different filters?
I think it helped that I brought my beautiful wife Shelley as an assistant that day, so she was behind me, making him smile.
So he wasn't mean to you.
You're right.
If there's a woman around, he's not mean. If there's no woman,
exactly.
Bowling, get over bowling. What are you doing?
He's intimidating, but he's a great.
Was he a good subject?
He was, yeah. No, he was. As soon as he sat in front of the camera, he knew what to do, posed, professional, so he made the job easy. So
did he pay you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. yes.
He's another one.
Another Gene Simmons. no, he was great. Yeah.
Butterfly or moths come out of his wallet when he pulls out his wallet. Just kidding, Bill. Just kidding, Bill.
Yeah,
just kidding, Bill. All right, next one.
Want a third shoot? Lara Trump.
Yeah, when was this?
So that was a little over a year and a half ago. We did 2 days of shooting at the Trump National Golf Club in Jupiter. We just rented a space. We set up a studio. I did 2 days of photo shoots of headshots. I do that. I'll go on location like I do in DC. So we finally did it in Jupiter, and Lara came.
Good.
Luckily, and pretty amazing
shot.
woman.
Good shot.
Thank you.
Next. Great shot. I love this shot.
Iconic.
BB.
Probably one of my most proud photos.
Where is this?
That was at the Trump Tower in New York City, the residence. I got a call. It was a Saturday. This was before the 2016 election. This is their first official meeting. I got a call on a Saturday. Can you be at Trump Tower Sunday morning? Next morning at 7 a.m. We have a special guest. And you have 2 minutes to start capturing them as they speak.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
I was in and out, and luckily I caught that. So
that's a great shot.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next.
Even Tyler.
Yeah. Huge Aerosmith.
Yeah, cool.
Huge Aerosmith.
Yeah.
How'd you get that gig?
Probably through the record company or a magazine. It's a while ago.
And you're not just a fan there. You're actually.
No, I'm hired. And I was like right in front of the photo. In the photo.
He's amazing.
Right in front of the stage. And of course,
amazing.
Great guy to shoot too.
Yeah. You can't get a bad shot of him.
Exactly.
Right? He's always moving around the facial expressions.
Yeah.
All right. Another one. Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
Oh, Willie.
So this was shot on his tour bus.
Yeah. Which he only traveled by tour bus, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you light a tour bus?
It was tricky. But you know, I got this cool black and white shot, and I was lucky I was able to focus because he had a very specific aroma in his tour.
I was just going to say, did you get high? Because I'm sure the cloud
I was by the time I left. So yeah, but I was lucky to get this one shot.
There you go. Next one. Just the iconic picture.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, that's Gary Sinise.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Gary Sinise with the Lieutenant Dan band. This is also one of my favorite shots. I shot his band playing in Memorial Weekend in New York City.
What a great patriot. What a great man.
Just amazing guy. Just one of my heroes. And capturing these veteran or military servicemen enjoying themselves in front of the shot. My best compliment I got on this shot was somebody said it reminded them of a Norman Rockwell painting.
This is so long as those two dudes don't start kissing, which would be ruin the whole picture for me.
That would kill it. Yes.
Next, please.
Luckily, that didn't happen.
Please. Barry, really good stuff. Congratulations on your career, and you're crushing it. I had a shot of us in there when I did over the summer. And I just wondered,
we had a close shot.
Do you redo them because you lost 20 because I lost, or I don't know, whatever. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Barry Morgenstein,
Thank you,
everybody. Where can they find you? Or can they find you and
BarryMorgenstein.com. I'm all over social media, Facebook, my name, Instagram, Barry M Photo. So I'm easy.
Barry M Photo?
Yep.
Got it.
I'm easy to find.
All right. Great. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
You're the
time.
best.
There it is. I see what you did there, Mad Dog. I see exactly what you did there. You put up the shot that made sense for the segment. Way to go, folks. You know why. That's New York City. America's mayor standing by in just a second. But first, let's do this. Tax season officially here, and the IRS is turning up the heat with the April 15th deadline fast approaching next week. Now's the time to act. If you've fallen behind on filing your taxes or owe back taxes, delaying will only make things worse for you. Every day you want increases your risk. Every day you wait increases your risk and the consequences. With over 5,000 new tax liens filed every day and powerful enforcement tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments at its disposal, the IRS is applying pressure at every level we haven't seen in years. driven by heightened administrative scrutiny. Don't make the mistake of facing the IRS alone. Tax Network USA is here to help you take control. Self-employed or a small business owner, even if your books are a mess, they can handle it. They'll help you clean them up. Tax Network USA specializes in sorting out financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Your consultation is absolutely free. Don't wait for another letter or a surprise levy. Put a stop to the growing interest, penalties, and threats, and take back control of your finances. Call 1-800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV. Tax season is here, folks. Don't wait for April 15th to make the move. Beat the IRS to it, because you know they're after you if you're messing up. All right, listen, I got to bring in a good friend of mine. I'm not calling my next guest. He's a good friend of mine, former Associate Attorney General of the United States, but everyone knows him as the former mayor of New York City. I know him as my friend Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor. Mr. Mayor, really good to have you, my friend. Just great to have you, my friend. So much going on. By the way, Rudy Giuliani has a podcast, America's Mayor Live, each night at 8 p.m. on X, and you got to check it out because he does gangbusters on that. Mr. Mayor, can we just get into a little New York City politics real quick? Eric Adams, can you help us out here? Eric Adams, he was Mr. Sanctuary City. He was Mr. Liberal. He was Mr. Everything the left was about, a progressive New York City mayor, until he gets dinged by the investigators, and all of a sudden he's begging for forgiveness, trying to become a conservative.
The worst thing, I guess, is that he's the best choice. I know that I say that with reluctance because I've criticized him a lot. But when I look at all of the issues facing New York, particularly crime, I look at the other people on the ballot, particularly Andrew Cuomo, who actually created the crime problem. He passed all the laws that he blames on Hochul that created everybody out on the street. 8,000 criminals on the street committing crimes. He's the one who passed the laws to let cop killers out of life sentences. You know how many cop killers are walking the streets of New York because of Andrew Cuomo? 44. One is going out this weekend. Happens to be one whose brother I knew. And his brother worked for me as an assistant U.S. attorney, Eddie Byrne. He's starting to get into police officers that were killed when I was mayor, and I don't know how I'm going to handle that. The reality is these people were given life imprisonment as an excuse for not executing them.
So
the thought was,
but Eric Adams oversaw a lot of the lawfare that was thrown at you and thrown at Trump. Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, he was seeing all this stuff. He didn't speak up until they were going after him too.
It's true. He wasn't directly involved.
Right.
He could have involved himself. The one who really could have involved himself was Hochul. She could have removed Bragg and should have. Any governor worth anything would have removed Bragg. And he could have spoken up, and he didn't. I mean, sometimes you got to get hit yourself in the face to realize what's going on. But he did. I mean, whatever you think of Adams, there's no question they went after him for political reasons. I don't know. He could have been guilty. I don't know. Not guilty. Didn't matter. But that's not the way the law is supposed to work.
Right.
You're supposed to go after people because you have a case on them. And finally, because he was a cop, he's the only one who has any feelings for the police. I mean, I don't understand how Andrew can run a police department when he let out 44 cop killers. So by the time he's finished, it's going to be.
I saw a recent poll. Cuomo is leading Eric Adams.
Yeah.
And not only New York, is America ready for
not only that,
return?
It's quite clear that he put those people in nursing homes, and nobody wants to tell the truth about it because his biggest fundraiser were the nursing homes, and they wanted to get a piece of the action. So he pumped a lot of the old people in the nursing homes and let them die because the only thing that matters to Andrew is politics.
Speaking of lawfare, you were under a lot of scrutiny. You got a lot of heat. How are you? The last I read was that they finally backed off and said you can keep your Manhattan apartment, you can keep your World Series rings, you can. Yeah, I mean, it was insane what they were doing to you. And by the way, the reason why I brought this up in the break, we were talking about the way they've treated Bannon and Peter Navarro as well. So talk to us a little bit.
Well, I get a lot of sympathy and a lot of support, and there's no question I was beaten up pretty bad. But my friends Steve and Peter Navarro, much worse, in being put in jail. I mean, 4 months in jail. How about putting leg irons on Peter Navarro? I must have arrested 5,000 people. I probably used leg irons once or twice. I can't even recall it. It probably have to have been a 5 times murderer. It's ridiculous. That was just done because the FBI is crooked. And I'm very upset now because Kash Patel and Pam Bondi have taken one of the people that was running the unit, going after Catholics in the Justice Department, and also going after J6 people, and put him in charge of the Washington office of the FBI. And I tried to reach him today, and they didn't call me back. I want to know why. They say there's an explanation for it. It better be damn good.
So tell us, do you think Kash and Pam are doing the job that we...
I do. I up until now, I was over the top enthusiastic, particularly the Justice Department. Wow. Justice Department did a great job. So I'm going to assume there's a reason for this that I don't know. But I can't give it, and I'm getting hundreds of calls about it. How do these, particularly from the J6 group, because as you imagine, they're very tight. And this guy, some of them tell me this guy was like mean and vicious and treated them horrible. Now he's going to run the Washington office of the FBI. So I don't know. Maybe he was a whistleblower. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, have to see. Let us know if they get back to you. One of the other things we were talking about, Gavin Newsom started a podcast, and the first guest he had was Charlie Kirk, good friend of ours, also on Real America's Voice Network. And his third guest of the week, of the first week of his podcast, was Steve Bannon. Newsom, what are the liberals? What are the Democrats? Who's their go-to? Is it this nut job, jazzy Jasmine Crockett, this crazy lady, congresswoman from Texas? Is it Newsom? Who are they? Who's
AOC?
Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Tim Walz. I mean, who?
Tampon Tim?
Tampon Tim Walz. Who's going to be their go-to?
Beijing Tim, whatever you'd like to call him. I think it's too early, but I think it's some kind of a jerk like that, yeah. They're going to end up with a jerk because their party is not showing the right response to what happened to them. The way, for example, the party did when Bush got elected in '88 to succeed Reagan. They decided, Clinton, Gore, they're going to go to the middle. And they worked on it. And they gave us a hell of a run and won. Same thing with us. After 20, however it happened, look at all of the differences that Trump brought, all that he learned from what happened in 20. They're just doing the same thing. In fact, it's worse. Crockett is the worst one. So I used to think you couldn't go as far as AOC. She's starting to make AOC look like a scholar,
a Harvard grad. Yeah, we have a running joke around here. Who is America's dumbest congressperson? And AOC and Crockett are two of the leaders each time. Mr. Mayor, really good having you. I'd love to get you back sometime.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime you want. You're my favorite.
Well, that's my mayor, folks. I grew up in New York with this man as my mayor. And by the way, what a great prosecutor as well. Rudy Giuliani. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, it's America's Mayor Live. All right, before we head to break, I want to remind you again one more time about my podcast and YouTube page. Both are updated daily. Yeah, you get the show, but you also get tons of other content, new content. You can get it anywhere, anytime, but you must subscribe. So hit subscribe on my YouTube page, and whether you get your podcast from Apple or Spotify, do it there as well. And we'll see you very soon. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. Mr. Mayor in town. Where's that sky cam? Where's the sky cam? Let's see. There it is. Take a look over there, sir. There we go. right, huh? Canada? Governor Trudeau? Who knows? So you've heard me talk a lot about Patriot Mobile for quite a while now. You probably already know that for years they've stood in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. They're the real deal, folks. Patriot Mobile is one of the few cell phone service providers that operates on all three of the major networks. The fact is, if you have cell phone service in this country today, you can get exceptional or even better service with Patriot Mobile. Or maybe you haven't joined Patriot Mobile because you think making the switch is painful. I'm here to tell you, it's not. No need to spend hours in a retail store waiting your turn. Simply call Patriot Mobile's 100% US-based tax team from the comfort of your own home, and they'll have you activated in just minutes. Still locked into a contract? Not a problem. Patriot Mobile's contract buyout program covers up to $500 per device. Keep your same number, keep your phone, or treat yourself to an upgrade. Support faith, family, and freedom with every call, text you make. Go to patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code RAV. Get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. All righty. Question of the day. Can Democrats at least try to be less obvious about their desire to ensure that illegal immigrants, vote in our elections? It's actually pathetic. So after sitting back for 4 years while Joe Biden and his border czar Kamala Harris rolled out the blue carpet for millions upon millions of illegal invaders, 208 Democrats decided to vote against the SAVE Act, legislation that would keep non-Americans out of American elections. Let me say that again, a little louder for the crying libs in the back. Keep non-Americans out of American elections. Not quite sure why that's controversial in any way, shape, or form, but to them it seems to be. So this has got liberals in an absolute outrage. It makes them use uncalled for terms and phrases like Jim Crow or voter suppression, but not so much Democrat Senator Alex Padilla. See, he's worried about hurting immigrants' feelings with this bill.
What Republicans are doing is once again demonizing immigrants for the sake of making it harder for eligible citizens to register to vote and to cast their ballots in elections. It's voter suppression in disguise, not so much of a disguise. Here's the truth. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in our elections.
Okay, what make it make sense? He says that we're demonizing immigrants to suppress American votes. How did these people get elected to high office? You're in our country. You're not a citizen. You don't get a vote. Pretty simple, right? Bottom line, that's all. This isn't about feelings. I frankly don't give a rat's ass about your feelings, Alex Padilla. Also, that's rich coming from a party that uses immigrants solely for their own political gain, or what is it, cotton picking, right, Jasmine?
We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I mean, I have to laugh. You can't make it up. She's elected, and she's at the forefront of her party. Only Americans should vote in our elections. I'll say it again. Only Americans should vote in our American elections. Your feelings are hurt? Cry about it, Snowflake, and cry they will.
This bill could force Georgians to pay more than $700 million just to register to vote. Y'all, that's a poll tax, plain and simple. And it's blatant voter suppression. Voter suppression by any other name.
Well, reminder to Ms. Williams, Georgians overwhelmingly voted in the last 2 elections and found there to be no voter suppression whatsoever. But okay. As for immigrants, if you want to be part of this country, you should come here legally and you assimilate, folks. You assimilate, you learn the language, get to understand our culture. You nationalize the fair and legal way, and then, and only then, you vote. It's pretty simple. It's not complicated, but the propaganda goes deep and far and wide. Watch this lib try to explain why she's against the SAVE Act because the leftist media machine told her to be against it.
Stop the SAVE Act.
Yes. Can you explain to me what the SAVE Act is?
Well, I mean, if you look things up and if people would actually do their research, it is a part of the 2025 agenda that this administration ran on that they denied. But what it amounts to is people really want to what they really want to do is they want one vote per household. And in order to do that, you have to stop women from voting.
What the heck? One vote per household? All right, go on, liberal lady, if I may call you that.
You have to have two forms of ID, so you have to have a birth certificate.
So it makes it harder.
You have to have a birth certificate, and you have to have a state ID or a driver's license. Well, my last name as a married woman is not going to match. Those items aren't going to match.
You want something?
So my last name on my birth certificate as a married woman is not going to match my driver's license, which means I can be denied the vote.
Wonder where she gets that dribble from. Oh, wait, so President Trump, who has appointed more women to his cabinet, I said women, cry libs, doesn't want women to vote? Is that what you're trying to say? They're panicked. They need these immigrant votes to survive. We're done with that. Also, let's stop insulting real Americans, please. Get your federal ID sorted out. Everyone can do it. Do it or you can't vote in our elections. Pretty simple. We're tired of immigrants and illegals voting in our elections. Done. Elon Musk showed us there are 2 million people, illegals, who got Social Security numbers illegally. Question of the day. How long are we going to let our so-called top echelon universities continue to be funded, federally funded at that, terrorist laundering operations? So someone on the Dean's Council at Harvard, a Palestinian billionaire, by the way, has resigned his post after he's accused by October 7th victims' families of aiding and abetting Hamas. The lawsuit claims, get this, that he helped Hamas build terror tunnels and rocket launch sites. Which part of this guy didn't seem like trouble? Palestinian, billionaire? Which part threw the Harvard leadership a bit? And why are we surprised? Harvard let its former president, Claudine Gay, off the hook for being an incessant plagiarizer. Seriously, why are we still sending our kids to these Marxist terrorist breeding grounds? They're completely bought out and infiltrated by Hamas, George Soros, Obama-likes, and kids at these schools are only learning how to become future Kamala Harris's and Hillary Clinton's. They can't even do math anymore. Question of the day. You know how when someone accuses someone else of a crime to deflect from having committed that crime themselves? Well, here comes a string of Democrats, some well known for their very own alleged insider trading, have come out in full force to accuse President Trump of insider trading.
So I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam.
But there is another profound danger as well, and that is insider trading within the White House, within the administration. You may have seen early in the day Trump tweet this. Now, this is a good time to buy. So the question is, between that tweet and Donald Trump's announcement that he was reducing the tariffs on most other nations apart from China, the question is, who knew what the president was going to do?
Trump seems to be doing, from tweeting people to buy stock and then later announcing his development on taxes. If people are pissed about insider trading here at the House, look at what's happening at the White House right now.
Deflection, nasty diseases, and Democrats sure have it in abundance, don't they? Question of the day, have they forgotten about 4 years of Mayor Pete as our transportation chief? Czar, so to speak. So it's clear the DEI problem in the aviation industry, a leftover crisis from the Biden progressive Marxist era that Americans continue to pay for with their safety. Well, that issue is still an issue. 2 American Airlines planes clipped wings at Reagan National Airport with several Congress people on board, the same airport where the Black Hawk crashed into a plane, killing 60 plus people. Jake Tapper drooled at the chance to do his leftist media propaganda thing.
If this were happening during a Democratic presidency, I can't believe that there wouldn't be calls for the Secretary of Transportation to be impeached at this point. Do you have confidence in Secretary Duffy and the Trump administration and how they're managing what it seems to be increasingly unsafe skies?
Got it. So they've been around, the Trump administration been around for 2.5 months, and they're supposed to stop every close call. Got it, Jake Tapper. Spare me the leftist propaganda nonsense. Jake, by the way, this guy said just this week that he's not on the left.
Everyone, especially on your side, on the left, is freaking out.
I'm not on the left.
But at the end of the day, listen, this whole concept. All right, Jay, thank you.
What a total joke. And yes, what we're seeing is fallout from Biden's BS policies. And spare me the nonsense, Mayor Pete was too busy breastfeeding to care about the many train derailments on his watch and was too busy calling highways and roads racist. Remember? Question of the day, how is this not making front page news? This.
Was information related to artificial intelligence part of these briefings? I know you said that there were some sort of informal discussions, but did Facebook actually brief members of the CCP on artificial intelligence, to your knowledge?
Yes, Senator.
And again, was that a once-off, or was this a regular thing?
Senator, I think this is a great area of investigation for you.
235 million Americans use Facebook app. 235 million Americans have been betrayed yet again by Zuckerberg's Meta. He sat front row at the inauguration. He went to the inaugural ball and spent $1 million, gave it to Trump's inauguration fund. This Meta whistleblower right there says that Meta worked with our Chinese adversaries, gave it to them. Gave away our data happily and freely. Think about it. While Facebook pretended to criticize China, they were betraying Americans by cooperating with China. Americans deserve to know more. Americans deserve better. We'll be back 2.5. The Netherlands, they say with a D instead of the TH, I guess. I've never been there, but it looks like fun. I hear it's a blast, too, by the way. All right, tariffs have thrown the global economy into chaos. Potential widespread inflation tied to massive supply chain disruptions is weighing heavily on all of us, but there's a silver lining, folks, that most people miss. President Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from these sweeping tariffs. While these new policies are triggering significant financial chaos, the administration preserved your ability to diversify into precious metals. If you're concerned about your savings, I encourage you to have a free consultation with the Birch Gold Precious Metal Specialists. The first step is to text America to 989898 and receive your free, no obligation info kit on gold. Learn how to hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered IRA. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of pocket with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of thankful customers. Text America to the number 989898. Again, text America to 989898 to claim your free info kit right now. By the way, gold was way up yet again today, folks. Gold exploded to a new high, $3,300. Never seen it before, and it keeps going up. Don't mess with it. Go to Birch Gold. All right, let's break in Jack Posobiec, who's sitting in for the great Steve Bannon today. Jack, you were talking to me in the break about something that sounded very disturbing. Tell us about it.
Well, Eric, we've just got great that they caught this guy because joint operation between, it looks like, ICE and the DOJ as well as FBI captured a guy up in Butler, Pennsylvania. Yes, the same Butler, Pennsylvania, 32-year-old individual, Pennsylvania resident who was making threats online regarding an assassination of President Trump, Elon Musk, and ICE individuals, saying that MAGA is the minority of this country. It's time for us to make our move. We have to take out all the agencies, the heads of the agencies that Trump appointed. Said that he himself was stockpiling weapons since the election, body armor, ammunition, and he posted online on YouTube under the cute and cuddly username of Mr. Satan. So this guy has been wrapped up, and obviously what my biggest concern is, and I'm sure everybody else out there, hey, wait a minute, this is Butler, Pennsylvania. This is the same place where President Trump was almost killed the first time.
Yeah, I wonder if, Jack, if it's something going on in Butler, the town, or maybe the people who are wishing to do harm to the president and maybe even Elon Musk. At the time, the president saw Butler as a soft target because they saw the rally and the walkthrough by the Secret Service clearly failed, and so maybe they saw there was ample opportunity from that location.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot that you could get into, and we're certainly going to do that when we go into War Room. Steve, of course, going to be hanging out with Bill Maher, so people can check that out later tonight on HBO. That's why he's out right now. He'll be on the Bill Maher show. I don't know if he's going to be talking about this, but yeah, there's a lot of questions about Butler. Obviously, like, I've been out to the site. We wrote a whole book about it, actually, and it's definitely a place where, yeah, it's rural. There's a lot of places you could hide out, and the security for that first rally, at least, was to say the least, not adequate.
Yeah, biggest fear as someone who really wants to see the country continue the way it's been going for the last 2.5 months and 4 years prior to that, in 2016 to 2020, is an assassination of the president. I mean, it's a legitimate concern, and I also concerned about Elon Musk. I think he's got at least the same size target as Trump does on his back. I mean, your thoughts on that, Jack?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I think the left has been ginned up to target Elon. Fortunately, just a little bit that I know that he does take his safety incredibly personally. I don't believe he has a Secret Service detail, but he's got private security everywhere that he goes, and he's had that for quite some time.
All right, well, have a great show. Looking forward to it, and I can't wait to watch the HBO tomorrow. I'll probably wake up tomorrow and watch it. Bannon on Bill Maher. Wow, that's tremendous. I mean, I should have given him a Steve Bannon is my spirit animal T-shirt that I had made for Bill Maher. You could have given it to Bill Maher.
I've got a nice free Bannon one. I should wear that.
There you go, Jack. Have a great show. Have a great weekend.
All right, thanks. You too, Eric.
All right.
Okay, War Room starts now.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose?
If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
All right, folks, Jack Posobiec here, sitting in for the great Stephen K. Bannon. Today is April 11th, 2025, Anno Domini. Steve taking a little bit of sabbatical right now. He is off recording a show with Bill Maher for HBO. We know that's going to be a knockdown, drag-out interview, and he's going to give it to him, I'm sure, about President Trump's latest policies and about how all of this, everything